All right, folks. So we got some news here. This is local news. We're still in the local news segment of the stream. So, the city of Elizabeth City, according to the Daily Advance, the city of Elizabeth City is begging the Department of Justice for $800,000 for their police department, because we all know the Biden administration and the Democratic Party loves cops. Right? We know that we elected a president who loves cops, and that means that we all love cops as well. Now, very coincidentally, the city of Elizabeth City spent approximately $750,000 on police overtime, on importing riot officers and other such members of the Blue Life community into Elizabeth City to terrorize elders, pastors, grandmothers, children. So we all know that they wasted about $750,000. And now, very coincidentally, they're begging for even more money. So you might be thinking, oh, is this going to refill the coffers that were, drained while Mayor Betty Parker decided to declare a state of emergency so that she could watch riot cops beat the shit out of children in the middle of the street? Unfortunately, she did not get her wish. But this is actually what they're doing, is they're basically using the protests as an excuse to say we don't have enough officers, and they are now begging the federal government for more money so that they can hire more cops. So, let's read. Elizabeth City is seeking a U.S. Department of Justice grant money that would add 2 sworn officers to the city's police department. The city has applied for 5 different Dodge grants, totaling... Dude, who fucking runs the Daily Advance? Who wrote this? By Paul Nielsen, staff writer. Jesus Christ, Lord have mercy. Learn how to fucking write a goddamn fucking sentence. Totaling, well, let's just read it as it's written. Different Dodge grants totally almost $800,000. The Dodge is expected to award its grant this fall. In addition to the grants seeking the additional police officers, the city is seeking Dodge money to enhance community policing programs. A grant for Police Department's Intelligence Center, a grant to provide de-escalation technique training. That's right, folks. In order to become a cop, you don't need to know how to de-escalate things. That's why they're begging the federal government for more money so that they can teach their officers shit they should know already. Makes sense to me. And a grant for officers to gain certain accreditations. What? Only the grant for the 2 additional police officers requires a match by the city. The Dodge Cops funding grant request of $250,000 would pay 75% of the 2 police positions for 3 years. The city would be required to match a total of around $66,000 over the next 3 fiscal years if the grant is approved. The entry level, who cares? If approved, blah, blah, blah. I don't give a shit what Eddie Buffalo has to say. If the grant is approved, City Manager Montre Freeman said the police force would have 68 sworn positions. Freeman said the 2 positions would be absorbed into the city's budget at the end of the 3-year grant period. Now, I just want to say there's a lot of people in Elizabeth City that somehow find it within their skeletal being to respect Montre Freeman. Montre Freeman has been to protests 2 times, and both times he was defending police officers. So I have no interest in what this dumbass has to say. I think he's garbage. And now, does that mean he can do no good whatsoever? He can maybe do some good stuff. But overall, I think if you're going out there defending police when police are brutalizing the citizens of your city, I personally take that as you are a garbage person. That's just my opinion, though. We are trying to increase service levels. The police departments have always done an amazing job. We just want to see how we can become better. The civil unrest has exposed even more of a need. So what they're doing here is they're saying there's civil unrest. Huh? Civil unrest? You mean protests? Marching around a block? That's civil unrest. So now they're saying there's civil unrest and we need more cops because there's civil unrest. Obviously, when you have civil unrest, you always want to look at ways to do it better. So what happened during the civil unrest of Elizabeth City? Cops abused protesters, illegally arrested protesters, hurt protesters, threatened to tase protesters, attacked protesters, tackled protesters, imported riot cops to point grenade launchers of tear gas canisters at protesters, illegally detained protesters, followed protesters home, harassed protesters, let cars hit protesters, and then defend the people that hit the protesters. So, okay, now let's see what Freeman has to say. Obviously, when you have civil unrest, you always want to look at ways to do it better. I think we have been extremely successful, but we want to engage even more to do on an even larger scale. They think that that's extremely successful. Making way for cars to hit protesters, that's successful. Threatening to tase children is successful. Illegally and unlawfully tailing and detaining protesters, that's successful in their mind. They actually think they did a good job. They literally think that. Eddie Buffalo, the chief of police, goes home every day after having attended 0 days of the 104 days of protesting. After attending 0 days, he goes home and says, wow, we did a great job. Extremely successful. Deputy dumbfuck Jimmy Evans goes out there and says, oh, we're here to help. And then when we ask him why his officers don't wear name tags, he says, and then he goes home 90 miles away and tells his family that lives 90 miles away because he doesn't live here. He tells his family, oh, we're extremely successful. I have no interest in whatever else this has to say. But these people are garbage. They're trash. And we need to understand that. There is no such thing as a good cop. The only good cop's an ex-cop. These people are disgusting. Eddie Buffalo is garbage. James Evans is garbage. The rest of the force are garbage. They did a horrible job over the course of the Andrew Brown protests. They continue to do a horrible job over the course of the Andrew Brown protests. They are themselves horrible people doing a horrible job, and they have the nerve to lie to our faces about how great they are. And anyone that buys this shit, I'm sorry, you're falling for some primo garbage. You are falling for some primo motherfucking garbage, and I got a bridge to sell you.